In this video, we're going to be discussing your junior year planning timeline. So these are all going to be specific tasks and objectives that you should be preparing for your junior year. The first bullet point is to talk to your teachers and counselors. Figure out if the class schedule that you have and or the curriculum that you are going to follow is going to be the best possible path for you to get into whatever major you wish to pursue. And also, it'll help you review what your class schedule for your senior year should consist of as well. So just make sure that you talk to your teachers and counselors as soon as you start your junior year. The second bullet point, the schedules have come out. Make sure that you go ahead and start scheduling, for the PSAT, SAT test, SAT subject test, ACT, and AP exams. Now, regarding all of the above mentioned exams, determine which exams you will likely take. If you're if you've signed up for AP US History or AP Psychology, rest assured that you will be taking those exams in May. And you want to make sure that you schedule it so that you don't plan on taking too many exams back to back to back. So knowing which exams you have to take and based upon what the testing calendar is should help you come up with a testing timeline. The last bullet point is determine what it takes to gain admission to the colleges of your choice, in addition to the GPA and test score requirements. In other words, if you're going to go to an art school or a conservatory, make sure you know what kind of portfolio that they're going to request from you. All right, so just knowing what the school is going to require from you is going to give you a step up and enable you to be prepared for the application season. The next slide is going to be what you can anticipate for the months of August, September, October, and December. First of all, obtain the new test date schedules that are going to be for the fall. Now, all juniors should register for the PSAT, and that is going to be the October test date. You can take the PSAT at any time, but as we mentioned in previous videos, the PSAT in October that is proctored by your high school is the one that's going to be for NMSQT. That stands for National Merit Scholarship Qualifier Test, and that will determine whether or not, if you are a finalist, you could actually end up getting a full ride scholarships at many of the top four-year universities around the country. Then, of course, in October, we want you to take the PSAT. And it's just a practice test. That's what the P stands for. And lastly, review the scores with your counselor to see how you fit in, with the overall academic record of kids that got into the schools that you are looking at applying to. Now, the next thing is what we're looking for is from the winter to spring, months of January, February, March, April, and May. So the first thing, maybe think about taking a campus tour during your Christmas break. This gives you a great idea as what the colleges are like, and especially some of the colleges that you are considering. The next bullet point, register for the March SAT and or the April ACT test. This kind of coincides with what we mentioned in the previous slide, which is trying to organize your overall testing calendar for the entire year. Next, take the March SAT and or the April ACT. And then following that, take the SAT subject test and the AP exams. And then lastly, in May, or towards the end of spring, make sure to update your file with your new transcript and continue to tour colleges. I can't stress the importance of touring colleges. It really gives the student a foundation of what type of environment they like, whether it could be geographic, whether it's the student body, and there's a myriad of other variables. But at the end of the day, the more colleges the student tours, the more comfortable they are going to feel with the decision they make as to where they're going to apply. Next, summer after junior year, this is extremely important. Give yourself some time to practice the online applications for the schools that you are considering. By this time, you'll be able to determine whether or not those schools subscribe to a specific application. Many of the colleges apply, or that you're going to apply to, are going to subscribe to the common application. And then there's also a coalition application that's gaining a lot of popularity. Second bullet point is review your applications. Once that you've done them, make sure that you feel comfortable with the sample essays that you've provided and that you're comfortable with the overall application process. Third bullet point, decide on whether or not you are going to do an early admissions or early decision during the application season. This is extremely important because many of these deadlines are much sooner than your typical regular deadline. You could have an early decision deadline as early as October, November, and whereas many of the standard deadlines for public schools can be anywhere between December, whereas private schools could be the following year. Last bullet point is maintain the correspondence with the schools that you're considering. This could be reaching out to what your prospective counselor or who your prospective counselor is going to be, and then just continue either emailing them to get a better feel of what they're looking at, to try and get an inside tip as to what you can do to make yourself stand out on the applications.